675.
675.
In for most of it.
1.2.
Raise 1.2 million.
I'll make it 1.2 million.
Call. Got the hands.
Brewer actually at sevens here. He's out of the way. And it's Kolpoys all in and at risk with the 2-5s against Josh Arieh's Kings. They didn't happen against Josh Arieh too often last year, but Queen 6 deuce with 2 diamonds. Not particularly shabby. Couple backdoor draws there. Ace of diamonds on the turn. 11 outs for Kolpoys. River card. It's the 3 of clubs.
Good game.
And that does it for Dan Kolpoys. Gets a little piece in the form of a flush draw as it comes ace, jack, deuce with 2 diamonds. Top pair for Schindler.
Bet 150.
Schindler bets the min.
Yeah, and sort of the problem with this board texture, of course, is just that you expect this to favor your opponent's pre-flop, very likely get called and have to rely on hitting a flush. So I think that's why Lievano decides to call, and
Next closest is like 5.
And maybe previous thinking years ago was, oh, I flopped a flush draw, I'll just get it all in here on the ace, jack, deuce.
yeah, I think Lievano's trying to find a way to preserve his tournament life and still maybe realize his equity at the same time. Maybe call on a Celsius or a Red Bull, perhaps, to help you out.
Does Lievano wave the white flag, or does he go for something here?
500,000.
Bet 500,000.
Firing 500K. To your point, does hesitate, does call, does win. Lievano in some trouble now. Down to 800,000 in chips.
2 million.
In for most of it.
Is it 2 million?
Yeah.
Raise 2 million.
All in.
All in.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
That was quick.
Chad Eveslage with 2 jacks.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
You see Aldemir getting rid of a 9. Ace A6. Nothing doing for Dimov. Can he find it on the turn? He cannot. He'll need it on the river. You see 2 outs on the top of your screen. We know it's just 1 as Aldemir folded one of those 9s. River card. It's the queen. Good game wishes to Ognyn Dimov. Out an 8, $143,480, and just a super standard spot on his way out. Lievano with 6s.
All in.
Eveslage with 10s.
Yeah, and I think Schindler's feeling pretty happy about his fold now.
Ace jack 7.
Another 3-side heart.
Very
3-side heart.
specific.
That's one way to say it. Turn
3
card.
heart.
It's a king.
Only a 6 left.
He said it.
One time.
River card. It's the
Good game.
jack.
Good game. Hey, good game.
And Lievano's day is done. Antonio Lievano in his best World Series of Poker showing in his career, out in 7th.
Just an incredible run this last year and a half.
Call. Blind versus blind. Brewer rips it in there. Schindler makes the call with the 6s, and here we go. Jake Schindler all in and at risk. There's the flop. 6 in the window. 10-6 deuce. Brewer will need runner here to eliminate Schindler. And that'll be 6s full of 10s for Jake Schindler. He'll double up to more than 4.3 million, and he's fired up, as you can tell.
Can barely contain himself.
That expression would have been there had he lost or won. King in the window, a 5 behind
Wow. This is going to cost some chips. I don't think that they're going to go for all of it, of course, in this instance, especially for Brewer, you know, just because Eveslage does have him covered. But of course, I think as long as the run out is pretty safe for King Queen, going to cost him 3 streets.
There's one of those streets as he check calls the 300K bet. Brings the 7 of spades. Brewer quickly checks. 1.7 million now in the pot.
1.5.
He does indeed. Almost a pot-sized bet by Chad Eveslage on the turn.
And of course, this definitely gives Brewer some pause because Eveslage also very aware that he's not trying to play a huge pot against Brewer as well. And so for Eveslage to go this hard on this board, you know, it's not something that Brewer feels super comfortable with, but of course his hand just a little too good to let go at this point.
Brewer brings the ace. Looks like about half pot here.
600,000. No, I'm sorry, 2. 2 point.
It's definitely not an easy spot by any means, but also not a spot where I think players are going to be bluffing with this dynamic very often as well. So he does end up
Makes the
calling.
call, and that will catapult Chad
You're
Eveslage
so fucking good, Chad. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.
to a massive chip lead.
All in.
Raise all in.
Makes the call.
All in for less.
Oh,
Schutten has
wow.
ace-jack in the big blind.
A real decision for Schutten. If he folds in this spot, you know, he's most likely going to be able to get that page up,
Makes the
but
call,
yeah.
though. Schutten playing for the win. Here we go.
What do I have? I had queen 10 off.
Queen 10 off?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Brewer mentions he folded a queen.
Flopped.
Heart in the window. Ace-7-5 with 2 hearts.
Six of diamonds.
That
No,
is
it's
very
9 holes.
interesting
Okay,
for
okay.
everybody but Aldemir.
Right, it's not great for Koray.
Oh,
But if anybody could find a way, it's probably the champ.
6 on the turn, black 6.
With the aces. Turn card
Okay.
is
Yeah,
a
Now
4.
the 6 of diamonds.
I'm sorry, I meant queen because he doesn't have the king 8. He has the king queen.
Yeah, so Aldemir's day is done. The rest to be decided between
so we have a whole
Schutten
controversy.
and Eveslage. Eveslage
Oh, we don't
looking
want
for a
the king
heart,
kings.
could
We don't
also
want-
find a
we want
6. River card is a 6! The double KO!
6 of diamonds. I said
It's
it.
this man's tournament to lose officially, I think, after this.
And that one was won by Jacob Neff. Put that in quotation marks. Brewer rips the king 10 suit him.
Call.
Arieh calls with the 6s, and here we go.
Yep.
Ace-4 deuce is a clean flop for the 6s. Backdoor straight draw for Brewer, but for now, he's looking for a king or a 10. Turn card. It's a deuce. So far, so good for Josh Arieh, the 2021 World Series of Poker Player of the Year.
It's gonna be. I think he might have me covered, but I don't know.
Brewer wants to run for the hills if he doesn't find a king or a 10, which he does not do.
2.5.
It's a queen on the river. They'll count it out to be sure.
4.5.
Yeah, it's covered.
And that does it for Chris Brewer. Out in 4. 5-5-4. Jake Schindler flops trips. Arieh flops a 4, but is in some trouble.
Yeah, and certainly with all of those draws possible, you definitely want to charge them, and not a whole lot of reason to think you don't have the best of it right now with King 4. Potentially hope that Arieh has a really big hand right now.
That's exactly what he does, is he does check raise to 1.2 million. King 4 certainly too good at this point to let go. And the turn brings another 4. A full house for both, and the better full house belongs to Jake Schindler.
As we see Schindler cutting out this bet, I would feel a little uneasy as Arieh. Certainly not so much so that you would be folding at this point, but still just a little like, This feels a little less like a draw now.
Sorry, it does count out the call and make that call. Now 6,750,000.
All in.
There it is. And that pains Arieh to hear.
I can fold.
Snap, and you get the I don't think I can fold.
That's the dream.
That is the dream.
Does flick in the call. We'll see the bad news. It's 5s full for Schindler.
Just doubled. Or maybe Jake got eliminated. I don't know.
Arieh with jacks.
Wow.
Okay.
Could the spin be on?
6, 5.
Schindler makes the call with the deuces, and here we go. If Arieh can hold here, he'd be back up to 20 bigs.
Ooh,
And a
in
deuce
the window.
in the window. Josh seems to be running for the hills.
Oh,
Another
there's life.
spade on the turn, and there is life indeed.
Oh, Chad just knew.
River card. It's the King of
Good luck,
Diamonds.
boys.
And that does it for the 2021 World Series of Poker
Jake, you
Player
might have to take,
of
like,
the
3
Year.
minutes.
Out,
Kinda
but
like-
you never ever know with these things.
You can never count out the Jake Schindlers of the world as he limps in with the 10-6. Eveslage flops top pair. Schindler flops the pair of 6s to go along with a couple backdoor draws.
And a little bit of a spot where I think there's a good portion of the King X's that Eveslage would have perhaps just put Schindler all in pre, so could get a little dicey for Schindler because of that.
This is quite the turn card. The 3 of clubs gives Eveslage 2 pair.
800,000. Call.
Does make the call here. And does river the 10 of
Wow.
hearts for a worse 2 pair.
Well, I think this might be it.
Could
'cause
this be the end?
it would be very tough to fold once you improve to 2 pair.
Schindler with just 3.9 million behind.
All in.
All of it.
Call.
He does make the call, and 9 years after his first WSOP cash, Chad Eveslage has his first bracelet. Where's Maria? How would you sum up the performance from that man, Chad Eveslage?
I think he played a tremendous game, and once he had the chip lead, he really didn't look back. I think this is a well-deserved champion that we see in front of us today. It was a pleasure being in the booth with you, Jeff, for the
Same
first
here.
time.
Let's do this again, and maybe not once every 4 years or
The
so.
powers that be, you've heard it from us. We want to be back here again together.
And what a show it was. What a final table it was. Thanks so much to Maria. Thanks so much to our entire crew. Most importantly, thanks to you all for watching. We will see you on